What is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to the reaction of WWE Survivor Series War Games 2025. A very interesting night, a return that nobody did see coming, and a mystery person helping out the bad guys take the victory. Isn't that something? Hmm. So, without further ado, let's get on to the rebel reaction. The first was the women's War Games match. Team Rhea, consisting of Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, and AJ Lee, going against Becky Lynch, Asuka, Kerry Sane, Last Legend, and Nia Jax. So, I like the way they did this. I like the way they did this because they didn't have like the cages out there where you could see them and everything like that. They didn't have those out there. It was just like it was like as if it was like a random pairing or draw or whatever. So um we saw Charlotte Flair and Oscar started off. The baby faces had the advantage. So who came out next was Io Sky, I believe. She just had her and Oscar had the theme. The next person to come out was the man Becky Lynch. She came out. Um and then they did something, and then it was Alexa Bliss. She came out. Then after Alexa Bliss, it was Kairi Sane, and then for the women it was AJ Lee, and then it was Nia Jax. Then it was Rhea Ripley, and Last Legend. She was the last one to go. But she needs a whole new theme song. If anything if anything came from that, it was she needs a total new theme song because whatever that is that she's got. I've heard it before, but I didn't really think much of it. But on this particular case, like they knew that Last Legend was the last one, but the music was just actually is that last one? That can't be her music, and it was, and she didn't get a whole lot of reaction. And that's a combination of a whole lot of things. Her being new on the roster, that music being as awful as it is. So but she came in, she did some stuff, and one thing I liked about this women's war games match is there were not too many weapons. There wasn't, because sometimes in the past war games matches, men's and women's, the entire ring would be full of weapons, chairs here and chairs there, kendo sticks, tables, ladders, whatever, and it just didn't make any sense, and it was stupid. It was a couple of trash cans, a trash can lid, which Sky had, some kendo sticks, and that was it. It was actually like a bag of kendo sticks, but they only used one. So, but yeah, but it was really good. Apologize, had to get something out of my mouth. But yeah, man, she was, and it was very interesting. I thought it was very cool. I liked the way it was paced out, and they seemingly had all of the right people come in the right time, which I liked. Just, every person get to shine a little bit. It was totally well thought out. Probably the best war games for women that there has been. Really was. There was no messed ups or messed ups, even with a rookie like Lash in there, and of course Nia Jax was in there, but no big botches. anything like that. So really, really good. So once all two people came in there, and it was and another thing in both matches, not that stupid. We're on one side of the ring, they're on the other side of the ring, and let's go and just pound it out. They didn't do none of that bull crap. Love it, love it. They knew what they were doing, and they had the right. And they just had a great War Games match, and I thought it was excellent. They took everybody out, and it came down to five against Becky Lynch, and she got a what did she get? She got a riptide, which turned into a Widowmaker or Widow something. Whatever AJ Lee's finishing move is. She got that, and then Becky tapped out. And so there you have it. The baby faces won, like I predicted. Want to know one of my predictions? So that was really cool. That's really cool. Again, like I said, I thought this was the best women's War Games match there has ever been. Um, I thought truly amazing. And yeah, there wasn't a lot of weaponry, wasn't a lot of other stuff involved. I think that's what made it great. I give it 4.75 stars. Truly amazing. It was almost perfect. I don't know what they could have done to made it perfect, but it just didn't feel. And you knew it was good, but you knew it wasn't. You can feel it. You can feel it in your bones, in your heart when magic happens, and when you just watch magic happen. And it's what's to say, it's good and fun and entertaining. Wasn't magic though. That's why it's only 4.75 stars. But a great opener to this fantastic night. Next was the Intercontinental Championship match between John Cena and Dominic Mysterio. And Dom came out. He came out with Roxanne and Roxanne and Roxanne Raquel. So I was kind of wondering why they are. So I wonder if they were going to be like involved in anything like that. They did get involved. They pulled the thing out of Cena. They kind of, punched him and slapped him, and they got in their way from him getting to Dominic Mysterio. So they were a factor, a big time factor, because at one point they're on the outside, and Dominic is looking for a Hurricane Rana, and it looks like they did this absolutely fantastic. They did this how it looks like that. John couldn't hold him correctly, or couldn't go over it, or he something like that, and he landed on his shoulder. And they even had this thing of where like he looked like as if he went to check on him. And he got up, he got in the ring, referee went out, checked on him, and you can kind of see like this. And they mentioned of like what happened to Penta, on Raw, with him having a shoulder injury. Um, so I gotta admit, it kind of got. I was waiting for something. I'm not sure. I wasn't sure what it was, but I was waiting for something. But I was like, oh man, Tommy's hurt this too. Like, what do you do? So I was just and I was starting to think to myself, well, I wonder if John could be okay to take the AA and have the cover and it would just be a quick match. I was starting to believe it, but then Raquel got in the ring and gave Cena a Tahana bomb. Roxy got in the ring and hit a pop rocks, and then all of a sudden, and then they put John Cena on the rope, and then all of a sudden, Dominic Mysterio was healthy. He went running to the rope, hit the set 1-9. He got to the top rope. He frog splashed on Cena, and the referee wouldn't count because he knew there was something wrong. He's like, you're outside feigning a shoulder injury. These two have something, and I didn't try to get there. And these two have something to do with it. So he's figuring it out. So he says to Roxanne and to Raquel, you're out of it. They go to the back. They wrestle a little more, fighting a shuffle, things like that. The STFU route, Dominic gets the ropes. Um, they go. Uh, this time, uh, Dominic actually hits a real 619. I think, right? No, it's something else, but but it's something else that Dominic does, and Cena kicks out, and then Cena goes for his signature again. His signature comeback, but this time he hits the ref and it's a ref bump, and they're trying to figure out everything in those, and all of a sudden, Liv Morgan's music hits, and she's back, and she's come running down the aisle, and she gets in the ring, and she's at Dominic, and she's like, Dominic, I'm back, and then she hauls off and slaps Dominic, or at least again, now knowing what's happened, I think this was on purpose. I don't think she really missed him or grazed him. She was trying to graze him on purpose so that she could then jump into John Cena's arms. And they had the John Cena thing where she's up there and she's hugging and smiling, and then her eyes, and the way her eyes were shot in this and how they get was easy because her eyes were kind of dark and mysterious. But then when she starts to turn back, the eyes get wide and you see those very pretty eyes of hers. And she gets down, she kicks Cena in the ball, pushes him into the ropes. John Cena, Dominic gets up, hits the 609, hits the frog splash, 1, 2, 3. Dominic Mysterio is your new Intercontinental Champion. Very, very, in a very cool way to doing this. I have no problem with. I have no problem with Dominic getting the retain, but as we head to the road to WrestleMania, what needs to happen is this and that is seen as that because Dominic Mysterio before this whole Cena thing was getting some babyface reactions, and I think it's now time to try the babyface Dom again. So at WrestleMania, Dom's the one that should be getting screwed over by Liv and the Judgment Day and everything like that. So I would want that to happen. So he should be losing the Gunner Championship to somebody, maybe even Finn Balor. But yeah, that's who it is. It was a very nice match. I gave it 3.5 stars. Some really good stuff there. Again, because of the overbooking this, wasn't a lot of wrestling in ring wrestling to be done. But again, this is one of those matches where it's entertainment. This was about the entertainment, not necessarily about the wrestling. This was the entertainment part, and this was a very entertaining contest between these two. And Roxanne, Raquel, and Liv did their jobs as well. So very good. Again, 3.5 stars. Next was the women's World Heavyweight Championship match between Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella. I talked about this like on the pregame, on the predictions episode. I'm not sure what exactly they're doing this with Nikki Bella for. I have to admit, I'm not one of these guys wants to see Nikki Bella gone. I don't. I like Nikki Bella in both wrestling wise or man wise. I like watching Nikki Bella on my television, but I didn't want to see her heel. I really didn't. I didn't want to see her heel because if she turns heel, she needs to be like the heel turns need to go to something. And I don't think you were going to beat Stephanie. I think what could have happened was you just did a whole babyface versus babyface match and have Stephanie win, but let Nikki Bella kind of show that she could hang with Stephanie in this type of match, and that she wasn't old or put out the trash. She still got it. She still got it. Something like that. Um, but turning her heel, I think is totally the wrong choice. At least for now. Maybe they might do something more with it, but for now, that was the wrong choice. Uh, this match was fine. Nikki Bella was was fine here. She didn't botch nothing, and she really hasn't botched anything in the past really. Maybe one or two spots, but many people talk about that that spot against against the Becky Lynch match where she went to the top rope and flipped back to try to do a kick, and Becky Lynch was at home. That was on Becky Lynch. It was not on Nikki Bella. So, but yeah, and it was okay. 71 with the Corkscrew Moose Call, Spiral Tap, 1, 2, 3. I give it 3 stars. It was very fine, very fine. And then the men's War Games match appeared, and we started with CM Punk and Braun Breaker. They started off, and then we had Punk and Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre was third. Then Cody was fourth. They got into there a little bit. Both Punk and Cody got some color. Um, Not enough. You know, again, as I said, one of those things from WWE against AEW, they're gonna get a little color, but it's exactly what it is. It's a little color. It's not a lot of color. It's not leaving pools of blood on the mat. You know, this is not the Vince McMahon blade job where he's leaking from the top of his head. It's not that. Um. So, but yeah, it was like that. So then, let's see. It was Logan Paul. Logan Paul was the fifth entrant, and then Jimmy Uso was the sixth. Bronson Reed was the seventh. Jay Uso was the eighth. Love Jay Uso. You got Jay Uso got in the ring. Of course, he did the thing. And then Jay Uso, Jimmy and Cody and Jimmy and Punk, they were able to subdue the heels long enough for them to run it back in the middle of one game. And then Jay Uso gets on the top of the cage and he's leading the way. But then the fun had to stop because it was Brock Lesnar. And it was Brock Lesnar's time. And he came out there doing what he do, wrecking stuff. Suplex here, throw here, suplex here, throw here. All of them. Good stuff. And then it was time for the Gyro Chief from the Reigns to be the 10th and final entrant. And Brock Lesnar met him there. Now, let's be they said it. So, and I think some fans might have a problem with this because the rule states if you leave the ring, your team will forfeit. They said that in the rules, and they said that in the rules from all the time, in the pregame show to to this very moment. But then Michael Cole says on commentary, but since the bell hasn't won and the match hasn't officially started, Brock Lesnar can do that. He found a loophole in it, and then him and Roman and Brock they brawled around the cage. Superman punches for Brock until Brock called him and gave him an F5 on the table. He dragged them all around back back to the cage. He went all the way around the cage. He just could have went around the other way, but never mind. And he threw him in the cage, locked the cage. The Wargames begun, and then he had him and Roman got into it, and then even Roman speared him through the table with Jay. I said Jay he's gonna hit Jay with a F5. He took the knuckles from Logan Paul. He used the knuckles to knock out Bronson Reed and Drew McIntyre. And then there was a big thing. Yeah, then that's when the spear actually happened for Brock Lesnar for Roman Reigns. Uh, I don't know if that was Brock. That might have been Braun Breaker hit a spear on Roman Reigns. I can't remember. But now it's just kind of down to Roman Reigns and not Roman Reigns, CM Punk and Brock Lesnar. And all of a sudden, this hooded figure comes and jumps the gate, jumps to the thing. He gives CM Punk a super kick where Punk is on his knees. He goes back and hits the stomp. He doesn't reveal himself in anything. He then goes and runs out the other way. And then Braun Breaker hits Cody, the Cody Punk with the super spear. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there you have it. That was the victory for the heels at Survivor Series. Unchosen asks, who is your favorite wrestler of all time? Over and Kick. Favorite wrestler of all time would probably be Shawn Michaels. I think it would have to be Shawn Michaels. That would be my favorite of all time. But yeah, that was the War Games. Very interesting way. Apparently Dave Meltzer, and I don't take a lot to what Dave Meltzer says. This is a guy who on a 5-star rating scale routinely gives matches over five stars, which is just an absolute idiotic thing to do. You can say it's idiotic to give a match a star rating scale anyway, because that's how we're gonna. Even I do that. As I said, I gave the men's War Games match 4.25 star, right? But that's neither here nor case. He said that by the end of the show, you will know what's happening in the men's and for the men in the War Games match. You'll find out who the WrestleMania thing is. So once this happens and they win, the heels get out of the cage, and who's left there is Roman and Roman there, and he's there. He gets into the ring. Punk and Cody are laying on the ground, and he helps up. He helps up um Punk, and they get talking a little bit. Punk tells out a fist, and he gives him a little bit of a fist, and he went to help Cody up, but Cody didn't. Cody either didn't see it or he didn't do it, which might have been a part of the story. But whatever it is, he got up and kind of looked at him, and they had some words. And then Roman went to leave, and he went back. He kind of told Cody, "This is the last time we're ever team." So you know, so is it? Are we getting Roman, Cody Rhodes 3? Are we getting Roman and CM Punk? Are we getting Braun and CM Punk? Which is what I think should happen. If you wasn't gonna put the title on Braun right after he did that to Seth Rollins, you needed to have it. Braun Breaker should be the next one. There are rumors again that the main event of WrestleMania, at least one of them, will be Roman Reigns and CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. Why are you not putting the title on Braun Breaker? I love Roman. I would love Roman to get another shot at another title run before he goes away. But Braun Breaker's the future, and he's now. And I was all fully on not giving him the title, after Steph got injured. And I was cool with giving it to Punk or Jay because then they could have a run with the title to WrestleMania where you would drop it to Braun Breaker. But here we are now again, and there's rumors that it's going to be Punk and Roman for the title. And whatever happened there at that thing, I'm still confused by it. So I don't know what the hell's going on. So look, who knows what's happening? All I can say tonight was a good night. I was thoroughly entertained, and yeah, can't wait. NXT deadline is next week, Saturday, December 5th, or December 6th. My bad. Saturday, December 6th deadline. on Peacock. I will be doing a rapid reaction to that. And then, of course, maybe the show of the year, Saturday night's main event. Now, normally I don't do rapid reactions or predictions for Saturday night's main event. I won't be doing. I still will not be doing predictions. However, I will be doing a rapid reaction to that just to see what may happen, things like that. Because listen, I think there is a 30% chance that The Rock and or Travis Scott could show up there in Washington D.C. and be a part of of John Cena's final match. I think there's a 30% chance that could happen. So that would be something to talk about. If it isn't, then it's still not. Who knows? Maybe depending on the time, maybe I can. I'm not even gonna risk it of doing WWE, so I'm not even gonna risk it. But yeah, whenever it ends, whenever it goes off, I'll be right here. Make sure you'll be right here to click the notification bell so that when I do go live, you can know when I do and you can join in and have some fun. Or also, you can also, you'll be notified of any video I may put out. If you're watching and listening on Kick and Twitch, same thing. Subscribe to me. So that's have some fun. Follow along and click the notification bells there to be notified when I go live on my video game stream or I'm doing a rapid reaction. That's how it goes, folks. I was 3-1 in my predictions. I predicted John Cena to retain the Ashley title. That did not happen. So again, I think I said in my prediction, I think it's a 50-50, chance of either one happening. So then Liv came back and all was good in the world, I guess. All right, y'all. If you're watching this on demand, post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. What you think of Wargames Survivor Series 2025. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy, AJTRIP, signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.